Hello everybody, today we're going to do an unboxing of a game that's a few years old, Dungeons & Dragons Castle Ravenloft by Wizards of the Coast. It is the first in the series of Dungeons & Dragons board games. They released, I believe, 4 in total: Dungeons & Dragons Castle Ravenloft, Wrath of Ashardalon, Legend of Drizzt, and Temple of Elemental Evil. I know I've seen playthroughs of all games or scenarios from each game. I own Wrath of Ashardalon and I featured it on this channel. I always wanted Castle Ravenloft, but you know, received opinion is that it's very, very difficult, and you know, and Wrath of Ashardalon was easier or more manageable. So I went with Wrath of Ashardalon as my first one, but I never really could tear myself away from thinking, oh, I would love to have Castle Ravenloft, simply because I like the setting. So a couple of years ago, this one was on sale and I bought it on Amazon. And I haven't done an unboxing yet because simply I didn't have time. So this one actually says copyright 2010, so it's 7 years old. So, and last night I went painting at a friend's house, and I want to paint all of my Castle Ravenloft miniatures. And today is a wonderful day. It's very warm, so I'm gonna, once I've done this unboxing, I'm gonna go outside and spray them. So let's see. Nice sturdy box, really sturdy. We've got the Castle Ravenloft rulebook, very manageable, not too many rules. There is also a nice campaign idea on the on Board Game Geeks. There is plenty of supporting materials. Then here you have Dungeons & Dragons, I believe, yeah, that's 4th edition, which of course a lot of people hated on because it was more like a board game than an RPG, and now we've got 5th edition, so all of this is now a moot point, but I don't know, I just like those pieces of old information. And here we've got the adventure book. So how this works is it's a lot like games like Descent, where you have a modular board and it gets built as you go along, and you have quests that you need to solve. So here we have the first tiles. So as you can see here, the tiles are cut out and they interlock, and depending on the type of tile you draw, at least in Wrath of Ashardalon, if it's a black arrow tile, you have to actually draw an encounter card, and they're never good or hardly ever good. And if it's a white one, you don't have to. Here you've got other tokens. You've got the Howling Hag, Trap, hit point tokens, damage tokens, sun tokens, freezing cold, slowed. These are condition markers. Here's the back side, so they basically just say dungeon tiles, item, monster, and then you have to remove the insert, and here you have the rest of the tiles, because it comes with plenty of tiles, and the cardboard is really sturdy and really lovely. So here you've got monster markers, monster one monster actually, mirror, food, again a condition marker. So and a special tile here, that's Strahd's crypt, not a script. And here we have the power cards. So you have generic characters which you can actually mix between games, so you don't have to. And I'm gonna zoom in a little because now I would like to give you a little more detail. So here you have now cards that are relevant for different types of heroes. So this would be a cleric card deck. You've got the fighter, you've got a ranger, you've got a rogue, a wizard. So your characters get a certain amount of cards and they can use them for different types of things. So this is a healing word and you can only use it once. It's a utility power. This is an at will power, divine flare, which is always available. And then you have a daily power, which you also have to flip after you used it. However, sometimes you get items that will allow you to unflip a card or unexhaust a card. And here we have encounter cards. You can see on the back, encounter cards, they are never good. They are always bad, or almost always. So here, environment, for example, bat swarm. A horde of shrieking bats flutter through the catacombs, blocking your sight. If there is an environment card already in play, discard it. This environment remains in play until a new environment card is drawn. Whenever a hero attacks a monster that is not on his or her tile, that hero makes the attack roll twice and uses the lower result. So they basically influence how things are going for you. And then, of course, you also, and you have plenty of those cards. And again, you could mix them if you so choose with cards from other games, but then it's sometimes a lot less thematic. So I don't usually do this because I just want, I mean, for me this is all about theme, and the theme would be very much destroyed if I ended up with Wrath of Ashardalon relevant cards. And here we have monster cards, so they are very simple. You have the name of the monster, in this case it's a blazing skeleton, it's undead. It's got an AC of 13 and 2 hit points. It has an attack of 7 and does 2 damage, and even if it misses, it gives you 1 damage. And then it has the tactic. So basically what happens is when you spawn a monster, you get this card, and you have to work with this card. And every time it's your turn, after you've activated, then your monsters activate. So then it tells you what the monster is going to do. This is the AI. If the blazing skeleton is within 1 tile of a hero, it attacks each hero on the closest hero's tile with a ball of fire. Otherwise, the blazing skeleton moves 1 tile towards the closest hero. This is actually quite an annoying little bugger. Okay. And here we've got a zombie, and that's all of those cards. And then, of course, we also have, this is Dungeons and Dragons. After all, we've got sequence of play cards that help you, of course. And then we've got treasure cards, some of which are really helpful and some aren't. And then you've got the adventure treasure, which is probably related to particular storylines that you're looking at. So that's the cards. And again, I would like to point out that this is not a Fantasy Flight game, which means that you have an insert where you can store everything. Everything is nicely in its place once you've unboxed everything, and it doesn't just sit in the box, and when you move the box, it moves around. So you would actually put your adventure tiles in here. I'm going to keep this. So now here comes not the big bad, because this is actually not the hero of the show. This is a Draco Lich, but he's not the big bad. So unlike in Wrath of Ashardalon, where the most important, the most terrible monster is also the biggest one, this is not the case. This is a Draco Lich, and I'm really looking forward to painting this one. So I'm going to spray paint him white, and then I'm going to use a sepia, Seraphim sepia, probably to wash him, and then I'm going to give him red eyes. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to painting this one. And then you've got plenty of other minis, and I would like to point out that Wizards of the Coast make really lovely minis. The minis from Wrath of Ashardalon were really good. They were also, incidentally, the first minis that I ever painted. And they are very forgiving because they have a lot of detail. So first we have the hero minis. Oops. So this is someone, I have no idea who this is. But the miniature looks really good. It's got really a lot of detail, even just the cloak, very nicely done. Probably the rogue. Or this is the rogue, who knows. Looks like a dwarf. And here we have the draconic, I think he is a warrior. And now, of course, for the monsters. Everybody wants to see the monsters. So let's see. What we can First of all, we've got spiders. Yeah, these are really lovely and also quite nasty miniatures. I mean, this is an attacking spider. It's actually very, very detailed as well and terrible to behold. Then we've got your average rat swarm, nothing to write home about. We know these. They are very easy to paint actually. You just basically base them and then you just use different shades of grey. And this is probably a ghoul because it's eating a human arm. And another one. We've got wolves, of course. This is Transylvania, or Barovia, I should say. Of course, you have wolves here, three of them. And another ghoul, so you have 3 of each. And here you have something that looks like, oh yeah, those are goblins, dragon shield goblins. Then we have the named villains. So those are your big bads. We have the Howling Hag, and she is a really beautiful miniature. You see the detail on this one, it's great. Then we have, of course, you have a werewolf. Very nice miniature as well. We have some kind of magician. And last but by no means least, here is the man Baron Strad von Zarovich. He is a vampire. So, and here is more. Oh yeah, you sometimes get these plastic things that you can put certain monsters in so that they don't break. And it's these really lovely skeletons with a shield. Not that they would break, because usually they're quite sturdy, but I like that they take the precaution, because it would be a bit, you know, I mean, you can glue them together, of course, there is no problem. I've got enough stuff to glue them together. Here we've got the gargoyle. I really like that miniature too. It's a really lovely miniature, very gargoyle-y. I mean, this one's easy to paint as well because you just, you know, he's essentially made of stone. So grey and then some red eyes and, you know, and you're done. Those are probably zombies. A little bit difficult to see, but very nice detail as well. Some kind of little dragon lich, so it's probably the child. And here we've got probably some kind of golem thingy. Yeah. Yep, very nice too. And now we come to the ones that I'm most looking forward to. And those are these translucent minis. Now I can try and zoom in a little more. No, that won't do. Like so. And we can take a look. At them. And we have, I think, 2 types. One is the blazing skeleton, and it actually doesn't look like much because it's translucently cast, so you don't necessarily see very much. But what it is it's a skeleton in here, and this is the flames that surround it. So what I'm going to do is, of course I can't spray paint them because I do want to keep the translucency. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wash them just in order to be sure that I get rid of all of any residue from the process of making these, of casting these. I'm going to pick out the skeleton in black because it's going to be scorched, it's burning. And then I'm going to use washes, different shades of orange. So deep orange in the center, lighter orange around, and then highlight with very, very possibly white, mixed in with a very bright yellow just at the top here and at the sides here. So here you can see an arm, you probably can't see an arm. The ribs are really nicely taken out, so you can really work on this. You could also think about picking out the skeleton in white, because then you could at least do the ribs. But of course it's burning. Yeah, one could also do it in white and then shade it a little. I could also do it in white and then shade it with some orange, and then it would seem like the flames are leaking into this. So I'll have to think about this. And we've got again 3 of these. And then we've got this is more like a spirit kind of thing. I don't know what they're called actually, but their name gives us an indication of how we should paint them. Blazing, no, that's a blazing skeleton. A ghoul, nope. Kobold skirmisher, normal skeleton, rat swarm, spider, wolf, wraith. It's a wraith. What does it do? Life draining claw. Okay, it doesn't tell us even what kind of. Okay, so I will probably I will wash these as well, and I'm probably going to give them kind of like a green wash. So first of all, I will wash them and then I'll give them a green shade, because that's going to be looking really nice on the blue, and it will keep the translucency. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to do today, and I hope you enjoyed this unboxing. Okay, for those of you who would really like to see something else, I'm going to yeah, I'm going to show you something else. So these are the villain cards. So this is Gravestorm, the Dracolich, and he's got a bigger villain card that explains its tactics and whatnot. And maybe I can also show you a hero tile or a hero card, because you have hero cards with all of your stats, so each hero gets a card. Yeah, this is tightly wrapped. Here we are. Here are the heroes. So here we've got Thorgrim, the dwarf cleric. So you see his stats. He's got 16 AC, 8 hit points, speed 5. Surge value is 4 hit points, level 1, and you can level up once. And then you just turn over the page, and then you get the second level cleric. Again, what I would like to point out is you have 2 male characters, Arjan and Thorgrim, 2 female characters, Alyssa and Kat, and 1 elf type who could be either. Immeril is a very neutral name, and he also, or she also looks very neutral, being an elf, you know. So if you wanted to, you could have 2 girls and 3 boys, or 2 boys and 3 girls. And to me, this is very important, because I think that if we keep, if we want more women and girls to play, games, then we also need to give them something to identify with. And I remember there was nothing worse when I was a child and playing old computer adventures where you can only ever pick male characters. I mean, why would I? I mean, I don't want to run around being Thorgrim the dwarf. Maybe I would like to be Tyrella the dwarf, you know. So I really love it that these days you get characters of both genders. So that's all from me. I'm going to do some spray painting now and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.